So, people don't believe that witches exist as far as being powerful. They think it's fairy tale. I Googled some of this information and I find it seriously, pathetically interesting, if that's proper terminology. But I mean, right now I'm about to get a little bit sarcastic and a little bit angry um, and a little bit uh, educating. And it's time that the mainstream society wake up and realize that you are being run by these people to some extent, not completely, not fully. They they have to really work it and be really cautious, and they have been able to maintain getting away with what they do for a very, very long time. Even on Google, it says back in when the witches of Salem were uh, being burned and whatever, that so many people don't even believe that it really was what um, it's said to have been. Uh, and what's really rough is that most people are just, they're not even skeptic about, these witches being powerful. People just shrug it off as fairy tale myth, whatever. But, well, let me tell you that you have no idea. And there are a lot of these witches, these satanic people. You have no idea how powerful they have been and how powerful they are, and the effect they're having over the human race. In as far as like the meat slaughtering, the just even the fast food industry. I mean, okay, I'm not going to get too far into that. And before you anybody doubts this, it can be proved. I can prove it. It's just that I'm so the only person that's outside of the victim rooms, the only victim of some really hard, harsh spell magic. And I not only am I the only one that's that knows about this, that's not in in their captivity, but um, uh, but I am the only one where I have names, locate a location, and then some possible ones. But if we get the victims from this one location, those victims will change the world. Those victims, oh man, if discovering when you see that we need to have media, high high end news reporters at the scene, at the location, going in with the police. I should be there and filming the actual opening the doors so the public can see them, and you will be amazed at what you're going to see. Now, people that see it on TV will probably say, "Oh, it figures that this is coming from Los Angeles. I mean, Hollywood." Uh, Most people would probably be skeptic, saying that it's all staged and not realistic. And those people will then be the ones that will have to learn the hard way, just like you who are skeptic of what I'm saying right now. You might have to learn the hard way. You should not deprive yourselves of knowing about what I'm knowing about because it's a threat to you. Okay, these people are getting really, really good at stealing identities and stealing from you. I can prove that. Okay, if you let this keep up, the way that okay they could get in your heads. People, there are so many people that have to take meds because psychiatrists don't believe, and they could get in your heads and they will get your passwords, they will get your PIN numbers, and very carefully, because they can't blow their cover. I mean, they can't just take money because uh, credit card companies and whatever they will, track them down. So they have their ways of doing things, but they haven't gone full force into it yet because that's not really their ultimate plan. They they have other ways that I'm going to be discussing soon, but I just can't get into that right now, of how they make their money and how they steal from people and steal their identities. It's really, really dark, and it's much, much worse even than doing it, by computer hacking, whatever. Because now that they can, that affects everybody as a whole, by doing things through computers, and computers are still modern and a new thing for their witchcraft. But what they've been doing, it affects just a single family or a single person, and do it takes them a couple of years of getting to know if they're this type of victim, that where they're going to take everything from them. I guess I am talking about it. They have to make sure that if they sometimes get the whole family, whatever, they have to make sure that there are no loose ends. But they do it. They really do it. They have taken over some people's lives, and other people, they don't know that this can be proven with people being interested. You should be, because it's getting much worse as we go into our modern times and modern technology. There are so many. You'll see how just on social media, there are so many pages of girls who get into witchcraft. These are not yet the actual evil, satanic, cannibal witches. Those are just, I mean, probably 90 something percent of that are just getting into the trend of being a witch. They try spells. They love to read tarot cards, and they get into the goth fashion. Yet, if, if yeah, um, the, the people I'm talking about are real, serious, evil, dark. They torture, and God, I should get those lyrics right now. That song "Balls to the Wall" by Accept. I mean, they're read those lyrics. And what's interesting is, now I didn't know the lyrics before. I knew the song. I never really paid attention to the lyrics before I became a victim and became aware of this. I just read the lyrics recently, and it's incredible. They now the main thing to know is that they're singing. They say revolt against the evil, okay, but they are given information in that song, and one line is build a wall with the bodies of the dead, and you're saved. And 20 years ago, I remember victims trying to explain to me that that's what they did. And um, I think that uh, for me, I have to wait till I am able to do a real full, like 2 hour testimonial thing with a panel of our politicians, so I could really just say everything at once. And I'm not like a crazy person just babbling on who can't prove anything. I can prove it with a few people being interested and wanting to prove it, and then it takes only minutes. It would only take minutes, and that's one of the things. I mean, for me to be talking about these people and to have people have skeptics is, when if somebody anybody ever bring this stuff up and out in the past, they don't have proof. They don't have names. They don't have locations. They just, I mean, I've never even heard any. We've just seen the movies, really. I mean, and it's amazing how there are skeptics. I can't get people to listen to me and want to take interest, but they'll take interest in going to the movie theater and eat popcorn to movies like Saw and enjoy that, when there really are um, a whole lot of kidnapped victims undergoing or are under the blade of that type of stuff, like Hostel and those horror movies. Shit's a reality. It's not necessarily as creative as Saw, and they don't bother with those kind of villains, but they definitely do the the scary part, and that's one of their ways of getting into people's heads, by through torture and cannibalism. I kid you not, and a lot of you are unknowing victims. I'm going to get more into this, but it's incredible how on Google, there I see that people really don't know and they don't believe, and people are depriving themselves. They should want to. No, as dark as it is, you should want to be aware of it if it's happening, right? Of course you do. Um, well, don't be doubting me and please, if you're doubting all of this, give the benefit of that doubt over to the victims that I'm talking about, because they're real, they're real, they are real, and I'm trying everything I can to convince the police to just get that warrant, and do not let those people at the door create a social coffee talk with the police where they insist that they don't need to go in, that there's nothing going on in the apartment. Not true. Not true. The police are being fooled. They are being fooled, and they are depriving themselves of catching criminals, and worse, depriving the public of their safety. And we need to think real justice. That's 15 minutes. I'm done for now.